Hi, I'm a middle-aged white man, so when I speak it's obviously very important that everybody listens. With the Newtown Neighbourhood Centre turning 40 this year, I've been asked to make a short film to help people to get to know their suburb. The suburb of Newtown. When I first moved to Newtown, this pub was not full of bearded, cider-swilling would-be hipsters like it is now. No. Back then it was the Oxford Tavern. It was renowned for the sticky, squelchy consistency of its carpets and its eclectic clientele. Happy days. If we go further back in history, not as far as the dinosaurs, but before my arrival, we find ourselves in the early 1800s, when an enterprising chap by the name of John Webster set up a store on this very spot. It might have been over there. Anyhow, he called his store the Newtown Store, and thus a suburb was born. What is now bustling King Street was that back then little more than a track from the new settlement of Sydney heading south. So the settlers could, I don't know, go and see the blowhole at Kiama maybe. This is the Newtown Fire Station. It is without doubt the coolest fire station in New South Wales. They have over 10,000 followers on Facebook alone. And now they want to get out with their fire engines. They are famous for their witty signs and for wrangling a couple of escaped buffalo who in 2014 galloped down King Street. Once they even rescued my wife's cat. Seriously, they really did. The cat was stuck up a tree. So they got there, extended the giant ladder, and then turned the hose on the cat. That got him down quick smart. Thumbs up, fellas. Good job. This is Camperdown Memorial Park. Sometimes it looks like this. And sometimes it looks like this. This is the Newtown Festival. It's been held in this park every second Sunday of November for 30 years. All this would not have been possible were it not for an 11-year-old girl by the name of Joan Norma Ginn, who, in 1946, was murdered right about here. Up until then, this entire park had been the cemetery for St Stephen's Church, and young Joan was murdered cutting through the graveyard on her way home. There was uproar about how dangerous the overgrown graveyard had become. So, in 1948, the graveyard was shrunk back to where it is now, and this park was created. But, and here's the interesting bit, all the bodies that had been buried in this part of the graveyard were never exhumed. They were left exactly where they were buried. So next time you're sipping your chai latte or you're grooving out to some obscure screamy hippie on the main stage, just remember that immediately beneath you are the skeletons of 20,000 former local residents. This is Bedford Street, where in 1870 there was, of all things, a gold rush. Yes, right here. No gold was ever found, but people flooded from all over Sydney in search of riches. They reckon the chap who owned the local horse-drawn tram service started the rumour. True story. Okay, this is the Newtown Neighbourhood Centre. Up there, somewhere, in 1908, when the building was the Town Hall, the very first rugby league club in Australia was established, the Newtown Jets. They weren't called the Newtown Jets back then. That would have been remarkably prescient, given that jet flight did not take place until 1941. No, initially they were known as the Newtown Blue Bags. It's claimed that the name comes from old sugar bags they dyed blue and used as jerseys. Although this is generally believed to be total bollocks. This is the neighbourhood centre. You may think it's just a building full of lesbians and hippies. But it's not just. It's actually a quite brilliant place full of people working in very challenging environments for little recognition and getting paid 2/5 of bugger all for the privilege. These people are the best of all of us. I remember a discussion once about what makes Newtown Newtown. And some very erudite fellow said, Newtown people give a shit. And let's face it, nobody ever said that about Pimble. I reckon he nailed it. And when we are all too busy, too lazy, or too drunk to be actually out there giving a shit, it makes us feel better to know that the folks from the neighbourhood centre are actually doing something. What's that worth to you? I don't know. But when you see a bucket collector at the Newtown Festival or hear of some other neighbourhood centre event, I would urge you to say, I too give a shit, and chuck them some folding stuff and feel for the rest of the year that you and I are all part of something bigger.
Thanks.
Get a haircut, you hippie.
Come on, Dad, not cool.
Hey, I am from Pimble. West Pimble.
Come with me, baby, I'll take you to a party. Afterwards, we can grab a latte.